my chances, you can get me to work. Rather sit in my emotions, this is trying to go first. Just steal some pills from in person, and I dip to the hearse. Rock out, man, I've been gone for too long. I don't really know that bitch, that's why I hide my phone on my skin fair. But man, the kid got tone, no, it's not fair. How they won't let me blow, I'm in the top 10, but still ain't got no hope. I'm undereducated, man, so all I do is get stoned. Can't let it stay around long enough to learn the sound of the phone. No, I've learned a lot, all I do is get stoned. Can't let it stay around long enough to learn the sound of the phone. No, I've learned a lot, all I do is get stoned. Can't let it stay around long enough to learn the sound of the phone. No, I've learned a lot, all I do is get stoned. Can't let it stay around long enough to learn the sound of the phone. Ain't got no, no, I learned a lot with the shit that you buffing. It's so hard to find the right, you know I've been on the hunt. Anger issues when I'm mad, it's like it's still of the hunt. I'm killing everybody with this shit. Ain't got no, every time I'm in the booth, down and I'm in like the ball on inside the tomb. Wake up to smoke and work and fuck to eat some fucking food. And I don't know about Travis, I'm the highest in my room. These pills just made me shitty, I don't wanna be that dude. And if you trust me, bitch, be careful cause I ain't got shit to lose. I'm crying to my mama cause I don't know what to do. Got time to shop my first, I need some sort of fucking fuel. No energy to keep it with the shit they made me do. I'm tired of taking L's, I know I wasn't born to lose. I'm tired of taking L's, I know I wasn't born to lose. And now they out just on my mind to see me lit on stage. Rock and roll front page, and people know my name. It's not attention, it's just what I'm meant to be, okay. So look me in my face and tell me that I'm insane. To love me is to leave me, take a steady refrain. If I can cope with my brain, then what are you gonna say? I just a painful mouth, so come and get the blade, I'm enraged. Get blood all over the page, I wish I wasn't this way. I think I'm best alone, so I just sit in the shame. Bitch, I'm a demon on the outside, I look just like a saint. If I could end it, girl, I would, but I got too much to say. I love you dearly, but there's something just not right with my brain. I'm making fun tonight, I'm waiting for my flight. If I play my cards right, maybe so let me spend the night. This Prozac make me feel insane, don't say I'm doing fine. If I keep this up any longer, I think I just end my life. Like, I try, but it don't seem to work. I like on tough, I can cope with the hurt. If I die right now, what if it's all the hurt? Man, I've been wasting my potential on the butt and the perk. I try, but it don't seem to work. I like on tough, but I can cope with the hurt. If I die right now, what if it's all the hurt? Man, I've been wasting my potential on the butt and the perks. I want it more when they say no, man, I don't get how that works. But I've been burning through my chances, you can get me to work. Rather sit in my emotions, this is trying to go first. I'll steal some pills from reverse, and then I dip to the hearse. I try, but it don't seem to work. I like on top, but I can cope with the hurt. If I die right now, what if it's all the hurt? Man, I've been wasting my potential on the butt and the perks. I want it more when they say no, man, I don't get how that works. But I've been burning through my chances, you can get me to work. Rather sit in my emotions, this is trying to go first. I'll steal some pills from reverse, and then I dip to the hearse.
But for money, for some you get sprayed. Trying to deal on TV, how the police system operate. But for money, for some you get sprayed. Trying to deal on TV, how the police system operate. But for money, for some you get sprayed. Trying to deal on TV, how the police system operate. But
hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways. And on we'll go.
Yo, what's happening, people? Happy weekend. Hope you're all having a good week. Just thought I'd jump on here and just live stream the backtesting session. We're going to be looking at supply and demand today. And, supply and demand session. Backtesting the usual supply and demand with fair value gaps, looking for our 1-to-1s or 1-to-2s, and basically just going to see how often we get a 1-to-2 trade out of a 1-to-1 trade. Basically, that's the goal for today. Also, obviously, to win as many trades as possible. So I hope you're all doing good. I can see some of you are here already, so thank you already for the likes. You guys are rad. I'm going to get us onto the charts right now. I'm just going to get up the other screen so I can see chat. Happy weekend to you, Victor. Hope you're all good. Hope everyone is having a nice Saturday and the weather's good. Let me know about the levels, if the music's too loud or if I'm too loud or if it's just right. If someone could let me know, that would be rad. And then, yeah, we're going to get into it in a second. Probably going to be about an hour or so, I'd say. Maybe a little bit more today. So, yeah. In fact, I could probably test the sound on my phone real quick. Yeah, all good. How about yourself? Yeah, very good, thank you. Had a good time away, so just getting back to the grind now. It's good to be back at the setup. I kind of miss not having my screens and stuff, so it's good to be back. That sounds pretty good. I think it's okay. I might turn the music down just a touch. Okay, so we're going to be looking at Forex today. I may jump on to two pairs. I want to look at NAS and also I might leave it up to you guys. We could either do Aussie USD, Euro USD or GBP USD today. But we're going to start with NAS. And we're going to go on the 5-minute chart today. Okay, and we're going to go back in time as we normally do. So basically the idea for this is for us to scroll up. Oh yeah, just quickly, also if you're watching the stream now, check it out afterwards, but just uploaded the second part to the My Forex Funds Challenge. Had a good session there. We had 2 trades in that, which is a different strategy which we are trading in this session now. It's a breakout strategy, but after this, go check that out, give it a like and stuff. We would appreciate that. But it's going good so far. So what we're going to do is go for our first week. So these lines here, these horizontal lines, vertical lines are basically midnight. So we're going to scroll up here and then we're just going to go randomly back to the beginning of a week. So let's go, well, I'll go back to here, which is the start of time. I can go back further if I cut time, but we'll just go to this point and we'll cut time at 5 AM. Okay, so the idea of this is to run through the chart, look for setups, and then run through and hopefully, get some good trades going from there. So I'm actually just going to turn the music down just a little bit for me because it's a bit distracting. There we go. And in fact, just change it to this. There we go. Okay, let's get into this. So it is currently 5:15. So we're just going to run through, click through the time, and I usually come onto the charts around 6:30. Okay, now at 6:30 I usually look for my breakout strategy, but today we're just looking for the 5-minute supply and demand strategies. Okay, and we're going to look to see how often we get a 1-to-1 and how often the trades go to a 1-to-2. Okay, 1-to-1 is very regular. 1-to-2, I want to see how often that is the case. So first things first, what have we got going on? We've got a bit of a supply zone here. Okay, now if you're new to this, supply and demand zones are basically an area where price has either gone up sharply, okay, through strong buyers, or gone down sharply. So demand is when price goes up, so this would be a little demand zone here, and supply is when it goes down. Okay, and then what we're looking for is a reaction from those zones, and then we have one other confluence that we look for, which will help us identify a good trade. So let me just get some rules up here. Let me see if I can find them. Is this one? No, it's this one. So the rules here, you can see them up here now. Basically, find a supply and demand zone with a fair value gap within inside. Okay, they don't always have a fair value gap within, but we like to find one with one. Look for a break of structure. So we're going to look for the trend and see if we're breaking structure from that zone. I'll explain that in a minute. Wait for price to come back into the zone, fill the fair value gap, and then we're going to be looking for an entry of a break of a recent candle low or high. Okay, and that's going to be our entry criteria. Alright, so we're just going to slowly work our way through. Now, if you've got any questions at all, jump in the chat. I'm here. I don't bite. I want to answer your questions and give you as much help as possible, okay? So let's keep going. Now we have potential of a bit of a demand zone here. Oh, it's the wrong thing. Okay, you can see we had strong buying pressure from this area. So if we go down to the 1 minute chart. Oh, you just, it's just did that thing. Right. Maybe we went back too far. Sometimes when you go back too far, it just gets rid of it gets rid of what we want. If I go to the 1 minute chart, it kind of flings me back sometimes when I'm this far back. So anyway, we'll go down, and basically this area, I saw what happened. This is a perfect demand zone. All right, so watch what happens here. I'd like to see the fair value gaps in here. And in fact, could we? How am I going to do this? No, right, we'll just go from here. So you can see here we had a big push up. What I'm going to do, because we want to see the 1 minute chart, sorry, this is a bit scuffed, is I'm going to cancel this. What date was this? 27th of March. We'll go for 1 week earlier, because I will need those 1 minute candles. Right, so go from 3rd of April. There you go, that's good. That should hopefully be alright. We'll test it as well. We'll go to there. Get this up. Can we go down to the 1 minute chart from here? Don't be lame. No, we can't. Oh my god. Apologies about this, guys. Right, we're going to go up. We're going to go back 3 weeks to the beginning of May. And we'll go from there. Again, I don't know, I haven't traded this or regularly trade this all the time, so this is all going to be fresh data to me. Okay. Now, if I go to the 1 minute chart now, hopefully. Yes. Okay. Right. We're good. We're good. We're good. Right. Sorry about that. Right. Let's get into it. So we're going to start a new day, start a new week, start a new month here. So we'll start the process again. So yeah, we're looking for areas of strong selling or buying. So here, for example, we have this here. You can see strong sellers happened from this area, also from this area. So this is a leg, a base, and another leg. So this could also be an interesting point of interest if price comes back to that zone. Okay. What else have we got? Little something there. Okay, so we see prices coming back up to our zones now. So let's see how this is going to play out. If we go down to our 1 minute chart, we can see that we've got a fair value gap right there. So I want price to come up, take out that fair value gap completely before we take any trades. Of course, it may not. This area could be classified as a demand zone, obviously, but we haven't broken any structure. You can see that from here, we haven't broken any major structure, maybe only just this change of character here, but that's not really good enough. So I wouldn't take a trade off this area here, personally. As you can see, we broke through there, so this would have been pretty weak. So that's what you got to look out for, okay? See, this could be seen as a demand zone, and technically it is, but it's not a strong one because we haven't broken structure and we're kind of fighting against this new large breaker structure here. Okay, so this is basically a start of a new downtrend. So we'll be trading against the overall trend there, which is not what we want to do. So let's get rid of that. Got an interesting area here. Okay, tapped in. Right, what time is this? So this is New York Open here. So this is going to be a very volatile area. Fair value gap's been taken out. So really, for us to get a trade here, it's not the best zone. I prefer these zones up here. Okay, you can see that it's not as strong as these zones, so probably won't take a trade here, but we'll see what happens. No, okay, so that was a good choice not to take a trade there. Let's see what we get. Okay, so we're slowly making our way up. No, we're not. Let's Get rid of this for confusion. So we've got a new demand zone, supply zone here now. Okay, you can see that we had a big supply zone. This is then broken structure here. Okay, so this area is of interest now. And fair value gaps, we have this one here. You can see here, so a fair value gap, for those who don't know maybe, is when you have a candle with nothing either side of that candle. So this wouldn't count because you have this wick and it fills the body. Alright, this doesn't count here either now because it's been taken out by this wick. So this was a fair value gap, but it's been taken out now. This is a fair value gap, this is a fair value gap, this is a fair value gap. And another example of one that isn't would be here, right? You don't have a fair value gap here because there's something either side of the candle. So what we look for is the most extreme one to get taken out, and there is one right there. You can see it's very small, but for me to take a trade, I'd like price to come and take out that gap completely, so fill it in. We'll go to the 5-minute chart because that's going to be our entry. Okay, so what happened there was this got taken out, but we would not have taken an entry here because we haven't got our entry signal, which is a break of a candle low. Volume came in here at 5:30, and it's actually getting close to the end of the trading day for me, so I probably wouldn't take any trades today. So no trades on this day on NAS. Now NAS is not as, I find, as frequent with these setups as the other pairs. So AU, EU and GU, they're the best pairs, but it does work on all pairs, but I find they are my favorite. So basically at the end of the trading day for us right now. But for testing purposes, you can see we marked this one out earlier. Okay, and this is the ideal one. This is the origin. You can see that this had a huge push down. We broke structure, so this is ideal. You can see we're having some rejection from here as well, which is looking nice. The time of the day isn't great. It is still only sort of 3 hours into the New York session, so there's still volume to be had. So let's see how it goes. If we get our entry, which we just did. Okay, so you can see we filled the fair value gap, which is this area here. We had a push up, and then we broke this candle's low. Okay, so that would be an entry for me. So they're just below there. Stop loss is going to be just above the high there. And what we normally do is a 1-to-1, which will be here. Okay, and then today we're looking for a 1-to-2 as well to see how often that gets there. So this will be a TP2. Right. So again, this probably wouldn't be my ideal thing to do at this time of day for me personally, but let's see. There we go. You see, not great. We had a spike up. This is around 7 o'clock. This is when the New York session is starting to come to an end. Asia session's coming into play. We had a spike up on the open there at 6:30, or around 6:30. We had some volatility. Eventually we did go down, but that's not the best trade really there. One thing we could have done, if we actually looked a little bit, was have our stop loss above the wick here. But we didn't, and so that would have technically been a loss, although I probably wouldn't have taken that trade because of the time of the day. But you can see that this area is a strong area of reaction, right? Price is just melted off there. So we go on to the next day. No more trades now. It's sort of going into the evening. Of course, these setups will work during this sort of time frame overnight when there's other sessions, but I never trade it, so there's no point in testing it and wasting time on that. I just want to test the times that are important to me. So, I went a little bit far there. We are ready to go. Missed a nice one here, actually. You can see a nice buying pressure here. Would have taken out the fair value gaps, but hey. Let's see how we do. Again, if anyone's got any questions, hit me up in the comments. This could work. You can see we got a big selling down. Not a big fan of the look of it, but let's see. We've also now got one here, potential broken structure to the left. Okay, big push up, fair value gaps all been taken out. This was the most extreme. right here. Let's see what we do. If we get a closure below the box, then I always count that as we're done and I won't trade it. Okay, so we didn't get a closure below the box. It wanted to come back inside the box. Alright. And again, we still haven't closed outside the box. Okay, so we got an entry there. Okay, now remember we're on the replay thing here, so it will sort of shoot up. But in this instance, I would buy as soon as this candle got broken. So we're going to go below that wick there. Go for our 1-to-1 for first TP. Right there. And a 1-to-2, which would conveniently take us up to this potential demand zone, sorry, supply zone down up here. I'm all over the place today. So let's see what we get. Obviously already a little way towards our first TP. First TP got smacked, and then that was that. So in this situation, usually I go to the first TP, take 80%, and then let the 20% run to TP2. This one smacked our first TP and then went down. Now, analysis of this, obviously we're going against this new trend. You can see big push down, new lower low, okay, new lower high, new lower low. So we were going against the trend here a bit, but it would have been a winning trade for that first one. Now remember guys, if you've got any questions, hit me up, ask me. Who's trading crypto today? Anyone trading crypto? How's your trading week been? Anyone had a good week? Anyone had a bad week? Anyone find any of these setups? Let me know. Okay, what we at? 3 o'clock. So this, you can see volume coming in now. This is New York Open. Okay, the volume starts at 2:30. Can you explain fair value gaps, please? Yes, of course, Shabir. No problem. So, fair value gap. Let's and also love your videos, mate. Thank you very much. Appreciate your support, dude. I really do. Like, it's amazing. I'm very grateful for that, and I appreciate those kind words. So yeah, fair value gap. I can explain that right now. Let's just get rid of some of this so it doesn't get confusing. I'll keep the trades in, but I'll get rid of some of the analysis because otherwise it gets super messy. So, a fair value gap. A fair value gap is when price or a candle has only got one direction of movement. Okay, so here we've got loads of fair value gaps. We've got, and I'll mark them out for you. We've got one here, little one here. Now you can see between this wick of this candle and this wick of this candle, there is a clear, just sellers in this area. Okay, so there's a gap either side. Then we've got another one here, gap either side. Another one here, gap either side. Now a fair value gap can also be called imbalance. Some people call it imbalance, some people call it fair value gaps. I like to call it fair value gap. But basically, usually at any point, if there is a gap, it's going to get taken out by them at some point. They're going to take those selling orders, add buying orders, and then react from there. So that's why we use them, excuse me, in this strategy specifically, to locate areas of reversal in a supply or demand zone. Now, when I first started trading this strategy about 5 years ago, as soon as price would come into a zone and then react from it, and we may find an example of this, I'd enter the trade if I've got the, I'd have all the rules, right? I'd have the supply and demand zone, wouldn't look for the fair value gap, break a structure, and I'd enter on a break of a recent candle low. Now, sometimes what that would do is work beautifully, or because it's just tapped in and then we've come straight out, price would then go back into the zone and go quite higher into the zone, and obviously that's like going to play with your mental. You think, oh my god, I'm going to get stopped out. You're in the trade for a lot longer, you go for a lot more emotion. But then after it filled that gap, which after a while I noticed that's what price was wanting to do, it would turn around, go into my favor, and I'd win the trade. But because we're targeting those fair value gaps in the zone, that's kind of the last thing that the price wants to do in the zone. It's either going to then reverse from there or break out there, and it's not going to work as a trade. Okay, it doesn't work 100% of the time. Nothing ever does in trading, but it's a way of minimizing the risk and also helping your psychology by shortening the trade and understanding price a bit better. So hopefully we can find some good examples for you today. That one was okay, but it's not the best one. So let's keep moving. We have got a bit of a supply zone going on right here. Now sometimes I will jump to the 15-minute chart just to see what price is looking like, because that's looking quite nice. But anyway, let's fast forward time, and that is a huge supply zone. Look at that, from there price is pushed down very dramatically. So hopefully that's like cleared it up a little bit. There is a video or two on our channel about fair value gaps, so go check them out. Okay. Now, here's an interesting one to look at. This technically is a supply zone, although it's not a very strong one. We've only got 2 candles on the 5-minute chart, and also we are right at the bottom of this huge move. So this wouldn't really be an ideal situation to take a sell. We have no fair value gaps. This is a good example of having no fair value gaps, okay? So we have one below the zone here, but then inside the zone there's nothing, right? We've wicked out. Now we would have one here. Okay, on this candle there's nothing here, but this wick you can see has come up and met this, so there's no gaps. Okay, they might be on the seconds chart, but we don't trade that. So there's just a good example of having no fair value gaps in the zone, and I don't feel like this is going to hold that well. No. So we broke out above the zone because although we had our breaker structure, okay, we're looking for a supply zone which is after this huge move. It's not going to work out that well. Okay, so we're going to delete that, and no trades will be taken there. So we're just going to fast forward a little bit. What time is it? Okay, so we're going to go for the next day now. It's 8 o'clock. I won't be trading. Going to keep on moving. Where's my why has that disappeared? My midnight markers. Oh, that doesn't really matter. Oh, there they are. It hadn't printed yet, that's why. Okay, so we're getting there, getting there, getting there. Anyone do anything cool this weekend? Anyone got any hobbies? Or is everyone just on the charts trading and trying to get that money? Obviously, no live markets today. Crypto's on. We could look at the crypto markets in a bit. I won't be trading anything today, but we can have a look at Bitcoin and Ethereum and see what the long term's looking like. Okay, so morning started. We've had a demand zone print. Okay, now the demand zone is here. You can see that we've had huge buying volume, which has pushed up, and we've broken structure to the left, taken off liquidity to these highs. So this is a interesting area. Got a game tomorrow? Nice, man. What sort of game? Either football or what sport? And then at that point, we're going to go down, look for our fair value gaps. If we've got any, we have one, which is here. Okay, fair value gap there. Nothing else below. This isn't a fair value gap because we've got a meeting candle behind. Neither is this, but this is here. Football, awesome, man. What position do you play? So what we're going to look for, price to potentially come back to this zone. It may not yet, but let's see. Okay, so we're getting price coming into the zone. We haven't taken out that fair value gap yet. So in the old days, what I do is, because we tapped into the zone, okay, and I mark the zone by the obvious candle. So it's obviously, for me in this situation, it's this candle here. This is where the move has begun from. Player striker, nice, man, getting all the goals. Well, hopefully you score tomorrow. That would be awesome. That would be sick. Hopefully the weather's good for you. Whereabouts in the world are you from, man? Okay, so this is a good example. In the old days, I would have taken this trade, right, about 5 years ago, because we had a break of our candle high. We tapped into the zone, and obviously now we are. Look at that. Okay, just look at that. So look what price did. It came down. We took out that game. From Australia? Oh, wicked, man. Yeah, the weather's probably definitely going to be good for you there, although it's winter over there now, right? I met some Australians when I was in Dubai last week, and they were super cool. They were on their honeymoon. Right, so just going back to this, okay? This is a great example of what I was talking about earlier. Price taps into the zone. Okay, this is the demand zone. We broke that candle's high, and in the old days, I would have taken this trade, right? Because I didn't know any better, right? But look what happens. Price came down. We've taken out that extreme fair value gap. We go to the 1 minute. I mean, like, literally almost perfectly taking it all out. Now, in this situation, I normally like... Oh, horrible. Oh, no way. Normally, what I like to do is wait for price to completely take it out. But because of the price action of this, you can see how ridiculous the rejection is. Okay, then we can look for a trade. So the trade would now be here. Now this may not work still, don't get me wrong. Hey Mark, how you doing, man? Good to see you back, dude. This may not work still, but we do have liquidity above these highs to take out, and also we have all these fair value gaps and this huge supply zone up here to take out. So hopefully we might get it. So now that we've got everything taken out the zone, we could enter the trade, stop loss below the zone, and our first TP is going to be up here. Okay, so let's see what happens. Oh, okay, now price is definitely taken out the zone. Okay, we've fully taken it out. So let's see if we can get a reversal, or we might just get roasted here, and this example won't be that great. No, this example was good. Okay, so eventually, if I was more patient, we could have waited for that. Literally, they took that out to the pip. Look. Okay, so it's understanding what price wants to do. I was impatient there and didn't wait for the full rules. Eventually, the full rules got taken out. Isn't it beautiful, right? It's actually beautiful. Look at that. By the point, and in fact, I'm even inaccurate here. Look at that. That's actually taking it out to the pixel, right? It can't get any more accurate than that. And then price reversed, right? We haven't actually got our first TP yet, but obviously we're already in a bit of profit. So let's see how this ends up. There's our first TP. Then we're looking for 1 to 2 today. Right there. Are we going to get it without getting stopped out for break even? Because obviously at this point, I would have taken 80% of my trade out. Okay. I would have banked 15 pips, 16.5 pips. And then stop loss is now at break even. So if this comes down here, we've got 80% taken, 20% is left running. Okay. Would we have got stopped out there for break even? Maybe. Would the spreads been nice to us? Maybe. Either way, that was a nice trade. If we'd been patient and just went for a 1 to 2, would have been great. I like to go for these 1-to-1s because they happen so often, and I find it easy to get profit like this way. These setups happen regularly. What's my name? It's Mike. My name is Mike. Have you tested the strategy with SL below the low that took the fair value? Yes, you can do that, but I don't always go for that. The only times I like doing that is if we get a candle that looks something like this one, right? So if this candle, there isn't one here, but if there's a big wick, then I'll put the stop loss below the wick. With this one, because it was a bit messy, I like to give it a bit of breathing room, because this could always come down, you know. They don't always take it out accurately like that. It might take it out and go down a few pips. How do you determine profit areas and stop loss? So profit areas will be from, maybe this is a good example. Sorry, let me get this right. Entry here, because we got the break of the candle high after taking out the gap, although I was a little bit impatient with this one. Okay, so we took this entry. Now if we'd actually waited for this to happen, like the full takeout, then we would be taking this candle entry here, and at that point stop loss I always put maybe a pip or two below the low. I never put it right on, because sometimes you can get exact equal lows on these demand zones and then they'll go up, or supply zones. So I like to give it a little bit of breathing room below there. Same if I put it below the wick in the zone, if that makes sense, like just under the fair value gap, as Mark asked. And then we can go for our 1-to-1, right? And at that point, I mean, this trade would have been a lot better, because we would have got our 1-to-1 immediately and then our 1-to-2 up here. Now bear in mind that also what I do is I calculate how much I'm risking. So regardless of this stop loss being this size and this stop loss being this size, I'll still risk the same amount of money. Okay, because I want to risk, let's say, $250 on this trade, potentially to make $250 or $500. So it doesn't matter the stop loss size. It just means I might get to my first TP a lot faster and a lot less stress-free. I got it in 10 minutes rather than with this other entry 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You know, like, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours nearly. Just got a, is that a comment? Oh, that's a comment on a video, not on here. So does that make sense? Okay, so stop loss is just below the zone usually. That's the safest point. Sometimes I will put it closer if their price action sort of shows me that there is a big rejection away, at which point I would put it sort of just below here. Hey bro, do you manage to trade or let the price hit SL? No, so if I start to see price coming down, let's say for example we get to here and price does go down into this, goes below break even, sometimes I will like give it a little bit of breathing room, but then sometimes I do kill the trade if I think that we are just going to go down, like volume to the upside is gone, we're getting volume to the downside in. I'll cut the trade at break even. Also, I managed to trade by when we hit here, I take 80%, so I bagged some profit, and then I leave a 20% runner to a 1 to 2, or sometimes even these things can just keep going, right? And you can make more with the runner, you know, potentially than the first trade. Okay. So let's see how this one ends up. Okay, we did get stopped out for break even, but then let's see what price does. Obviously now we're after. Let's just see how it goes. There we go. Okay, so we got stopped out there. So yeah, does that make sense? I'm kind of getting a bit frantic there, but first TP, 80% out, 20% is left running at break even. So if that 20% does come down and stop us out, we're happy. We got our 80% of 15 pips, 20 pips or whatever. We move on to the next one. Sometimes I may move my stop loss as well earlier to break even. Once we get to a point where I feel that we're up here, may as well take that risk away. So that's kind of like my management skills. Mike, how long did it take you to be profitable? I would say so I've been trading, I first got introduced to trading 8 years ago. I traded for 2 years without really knowing what I was doing, and probably didn't put as much effort in as I should. So really like the last 5 years I've been at this fully. I would say 2.5 to 3 years it took me, and then but still with mistakes. Like, you know, you can get profitable, then you have bad weeks. It's not always, you know, one day you're profitable. Okay, one day you will understand the markets to a point, right? I've spent over 10,000 hours looking at these charts over the last 8 years, maybe, you know, definitely over 10,000 hours. Worked it out with my fiance the other day. She's like, you look at these charts a lot. I was like, yep. But what you just got to do is, once you find strategies that work, okay, they're not going to work all the time, but you got to find the ones that work well. I got a comment on a video yesterday saying, you know, how do you, I know it was an Instagram DM, how do you, you know, deal with your psychology with having aggressive trades? And it's just the fact that I know that these strategies work, right? This strategy, the breakout strategy, and another one that I've been working on as well. I know that they work because I do this, right? I test them. I don't always do it live. I do it like in the evenings. I do it on the weekends. I will start doing it more live now because I really want to kick up the content. But I know that they work. I also don't risk more than I want to, or that's going to stress me out. Okay, kind of lost the plot of the question there, but yeah. So it's all about psychology, and just once you become profitable in a psychological way, you can control your emotions. You find the strategies that work. Then it's up to you to try and get that working. Any other question? If you don't mind, I mainly trade. How can I calculate? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And Shabir's got that right. I use FXTM, which I can get up now. It's a pip calculator. It's free, and it's there is another one that looks much similar. I think they have two versions of it actually. This is the older looking version. But basically, you can come in here. Can you guys see that? Yeah. You type in the amount you're going to risk. So for example, with NAS, sorry, you can't do NAS on here because that's an indice. It's only currency pairs, this one. You can find indice ones. But let's say Euro USD, you're risking 25 pips. Okay. And you want to risk, and you're trading USD, and you want to risk, I don't know, $250, let's say. So that might be so for that I'd need to work about one. There you go. So risk 249. I know the lot size I want and that's how much I'm going to risk and potentially gain. Then also you can work out how much you're going to gain here. So let's say I potentially might gain 60 pips, then you can work out how much you'll gain from that. Does that make sense? So it's a really good tool, this one. Super quick, super easy, and it's got literally all the pairs from the majors all the way to the super exotic pairs, which some of them I couldn't even tell you what they are, to be honest. So yeah. Right. Moving on. Let's see if we can find any more. Have we just missed one there by being too quick? So you can see we've got strong buying pressure. You've got a downward, short-term downward trend, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Created a new higher high. Hello, hey, how long should I backtest a strategy before real trading? Hey dude, welcome to the stream. I don't think I've seen your name before. Basically, I would just do it as much as possible. Okay, if you find a strategy, focus on that, backtest it every night for an hour or two until you feel that you're getting more trades right than wrong. Okay, and if you're getting more trades right than wrong, then you know you can go to real trading. My advice and how I did it, and I know a lot of people did it the opposite way and now don't trade anymore, is they went in too big too early. I started with like $100, right? $100 here, $200 here, and then that way, one, your psychology is okay. I know one friend, he like threw in like 10 grand, lost it all in like the first like 3 months, was devastated, never traded again, right? Because he just went in too big too quick. You got to take your time. Take your time, because the market is smarter than us. We've just got to try and ride the waves and find our niche and our edge. Okay, so don't rush. Find a strategy that works. Repeat, 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 and we'll go for it. Okay, so we missed a nice trade here. You can see we had that. Just going back to this, we had, oh my god, all our rules were met here. Okay, we had lower low, lower high, lower low. Then we had a breaker structure here. Okay, so we broke this higher, a lower high, made a new higher high with a huge demand zone with 3 really nice printed bullish candles, basically just going straight up. Price came back into the zone, and the trade actually hasn't played out yet, but let's see. Come back into the zone, we go down to the 1 minute chart. We're going to look for fair value gaps. Do we have any? Yes, we got one here. Okay, so we're going to take that one out. Price comes in again, doesn't fully take it out completely, but we do get a reaction away, so that's going to be pretty good enough for me. So let's see if this trade would have won. Now this is an example where I may have my stop loss below here, because we've already had quite a large push up. Now obviously this is in hindsight, we're already in a bit of profit, but let's see how this trade would have worked out and see if we would have got to our first TP. Yes, we would have. Okay. See how simple this is, guys? Once you get it and understand what you're looking for, it's simple. That's the average. That's the advantage of being 17 years old, not allowed to trade real until I'm 18. There you go, man. You're starting super early. I'm 31 now. Oh my god. I started when I was 24. Between 23 and 24, when I first heard about it. I actually started on binary options, which is something that we can't do in the UK anymore, but you could back then. I won't get into what binary options are. If you want to know what they are, you can Google it, but they're not allowed to do here, and they're actually not the best way to trade. If you want to trade, you can't really manage your risk that way. It's almost a bit like gambling. And then after a year of looking at that, I then found the real stuff. But I've started with loads of indicators. If you notice that my charts have no indicators on, if you go on TradingView and look at people's ideas and stuff, they'll have hundreds of things on, because, and trust me, for like 2 or 3 years I traded with indicators, but they don't work, man. Well, you can make them work, but they didn't work for me. I'm literally just breaking down price, and price at the end of the day is what's moving, not the indicator. So you start with binary options too. There you go, man. It was the one that kind of got introduced. People still do trade it, like in the States you can trade it, and in other countries, but the FCA banned it in the UK because it was seen too much as like gambling rather than trading, I guess. But going back to this trade, another fantastic trade. We had a nice demand zone. We took out that fair value gap with precision, as you can see. And then after that, we got our break of a candle high. So we would have, after we had that happen, wait for this candle to close, see what was going to happen next. We would have entered once we saw price break above this high. It doesn't have to close above the high, it's just literally going above the high of this candle, and then the rest is history, and price pushed up. At this point we've got 80% taken out. Okay, 20% left running, and let's see if we can get up to our 1 to 2. No. So maybe we could have got some profit up here, or maybe we would have got stopped out for break even here. But either way, we won this trade, and we won a nice 16 pips again. So 2 for 2 over the last 2 days. Oh no, this isn't the same day. This is London session, sorry. London session, and this is New York. I believe everyone has passed the indicator phase. Absolutely, dude. I would definitely agree. Everyone has to go through that. And I had some good results with some indicators, right? Like MACD and stuff, lining up RSI and things like that. Had good results, but it was just too much information to take in, as well as looking at the candles, I find. If you don't mind, can you explain breaker structure, chalk, in the simple terms, because you do it so well? Absolutely, man. Okay, so... Oh. So this is a good example. Have I just ruined that? Yeah, I have. There it goes. Good example here, okay? So, we'll take this short-term downward trend. Can you see that here? Right, so this is a high. We've got a new lower low. And this is actually a change of character here. Now, usually the change of character is the first sort of break in the trend. Okay, change of the trend before you have a break of structure. So this would be a change of character technically. You can see that we had a low here, a new higher high. Now we've got a new lower low. So this would be a change of character. It's not a very good one, to be fair, but just for examples cases. Then we've got a new lower low, so this would be a break of structure. Well, technically this would be a major break of structure here, but I'm making this a bit too confusing actually. New lower low, new lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Then we had a big push up and we broke above this area. So this could be a change of character or a break of structure technically. Most likely people would call this a chock actually. If we go down to the 1 minute chart, okay, let's see if we can find a good example of a chock. Yeah, so this is, sorry, I'm getting all confused here. You said I could do it so well. I'm not doing too well at the moment. So on the 5 minute chart, got a lower low, lower high, lower low. Then on the 1 minute chart, this is the new sort of lower low high, if you will. We've now had a push up, and this is actually here, sorry. Lower low, new lower high, new not so lower low, okay, because we haven't broken this low, and then we got a new lower high here. So this would be a chock, change of character in the overall trend, and then the breaker structure is on the higher time frame where we break that structure. Does that make sense? Sorry, that was a really bad example. If we find any more, I'll show you it in a bit of a better term. Look what happened here. What's this? Oh, this is Asia Open. Okay, so the other side of the world starting to trade. So we're going to move on to the next day. I will explain that a bit better, Shabir. Sorry, that was not the best example there. Right. Okay, cool. As long as you're getting it, that's good. Right. The next morning. Now this is all a mess. Okay, you could see this as a supply zone, but look at that. I'm not even going to touch that. That's just madness. So stay away from something like that. Okay, some people might be like, oh look, there's a white indecision candle there, that's a supply zone. You may be, but for me that is just dirty. How often do I use fib? I use it from time to time, and I'll explain why in a minute, but I don't use it very often. At one point I did trade fib solely, which I didn't have too bad results from, but not the best. Actually, we've got a good example of chock here. Okay, so you see this upward trend. Okay, you got lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, upward trend, right, all the way up. New lower high, so new higher high, new lower low, new higher high, and then price has changed the character of the trend, right? That's what chock stands for, change of character. So the change of character has happened here. So that would be a chalk. Okay, and then technically a breaker structure would be potentially this one across here. So this one, new breaker structure would be this one here. Okay, so continue to the downside, new lower low. There you go. Fib's useful to find out where the 50% is. Okay, so the 50% of a move. This is another good example, alright? So we've got this big move up, and we have broken structure to the left here. We've got some structure. Okay, so we've got a new lower low, lower high, big push down, and we've broken that structure to continue to the upside. So now what we have here is we have several demand zones, right? If you look at them, we've got a demand zone here, right? Because look, we've got an area and then strong push up, which broke structure. Yeah. So this is where this strategy can get a little confusing. This is a good time for you to bring it up. This would have been a winning one here, likely. You could have got a winning trade here. Okay, if we go down to the lower time frame, look for our fair value gaps. The only one we got is there, so that would have got taken out quite early. The zone got taken out. We then had a break of our candle high here. Alright, so this would have been a winning trade if you're going for your 1-to-1. Remember, the 1-to-1's all you need, right? You don't need all these crazy risks to rewards. It's not always necessary. And there's lots of traders that say you do. There's lots of traders that literally will risk like 50 pips and gain like 10 pips because they're so sure that that 10 pips is going to happen, right? And that's all they need. So this would have been a winning trade off this demand zone. But as you can see, because we had this change of character in the trend, price is now in a downtrend, so we're going against the movement now. Okay, so what we're going to look for then is the 50%. So above the 50% is oversold or overbought or overpriced, sorry, and then below 50% is the discount zone. Okay, and that's where we want to look for our supply or demand zones. So this is one here, and this is below the 50%. You also have one here, which is below the 50% and lies right on the 0.618 fib. Okay, so let's see right now. We've got our fair value gap here, which goes from here to here. Okay, has that been taken out? Yes, it has, literally to the point. So this is a good chance now where I would prefer to take this demand zone. You can see from this area had big move up, same as here, big move up. Okay, we could have won here if we took this trade, we would have won. Okay, but this is a better trade, and so is this one maybe. So let's see what we get, because we're in the discount price zone. Okay, there it is. So we got our entry, break of a candle high. We actually took out the zone as well completely, that fair value gap. Stop is going to go below the zone here. We're going to go for our 1-to-1. I will read that chat in a second, dude. Okay, so it's quite a big 1-to-1. Let's see what we get. Bam! Okay, there you go. So this one did work quite well, but this one is better because it's below the 50% of this huge move, right? Does that make sense? That was a really good time to bring it up. That's literally the perfect example. So that's when I use fib. I don't use fib tools to really like trade off of. It's just to locate where supply and demand zones are. Now this one is perfectly just below the 50%. It's in a discounted range, so therefore price is likely going to from that point come down. They're going to buy at that zone. And there you go. Because at the end of the day, the thing that creates a supply or demand zone, yeah, first CP and runner got hit and what, you know. So this is a great example, and this does happen quite regularly for me as well. I don't ever set a hard 80% takeout here. I'll manage that manually. Okay, so when we get to that point, I'll take 80% out. Now when this happens, sometimes it can happen so quick that I take my 80% out up here, right? And that does happen, like regularly. Not all the time, but it does happen regularly. So sometimes, yeah, you can get lucky with that. I've lost what I was saying. What was I saying? Yeah, so that's an example. Oh yeah, what supply and demand zones are. what causes a demand zone to be created is from this area, a ton of money has been brought into the NAS. Okay, lots of buying orders down here that have created the price to move up this quick. Now you and I, even if everyone in this, the 9 concurrent viewers, if that is how many are in here right now, what's up to all of you, if we all brought here, we wouldn't be able to create this move. Okay, this is hedge funds, banks, this is millions worth of dollars. Even if it's on the 5-minute chart, to create this big sharp move up, this is millions and millions worth of dollars. So when price comes back down to this area, whoever brought down here in this discounted zone below the 50% is likely going to want to protect their orders and then buy again. Okay, they want to buy at this cheap zone again. And what did they do? They did, and then literally as soon as they brought down here, they just rocketed up. Volume came in. Okay, and let's see what happens after this. See if we continue to the upside and come take out this crazy looking stuff out here. No, comes back down. Okay, and then there we go. But we don't really care what happens afterwards. We just want to catch those moves. Okay. So that was a nice example, and so far we have been bar this one at the first time, which we lost because we didn't have a tight stop, and it was actually a bit late in the day for us anyway, but in the end would have worked out. We're actually 5 for 5 right now. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. This one was in hindsight, but the strategy worked out, right? Let me read these chats. I haven't watched it for a bit. Mike, do you ever trade without breaker structure? Rarely, because it's important. If you're breaking structure, then it shows that you are continuing in that direction, because if you're breaking the structure, you're going to continue in that direction, right? So we broke this structure here. All right, so I'm looking for now price to potentially continue up. All right, like for example, this zone broke this minor structure. Okay, so from this zone we created new highs, breaking this high, so this is a good zone to go from. So yeah, but sometimes like this one, for example, didn't break a whole load of structure. We did break a little one here, but you could have got a trade there. But usually I like to look for the breaker structure because it's just it's a safer thing to do, right? You want as much confidence and confluence as you can get to take the trade. So let's keep going. Mike, can you show break structure to use with supply and demand zones? Sure. So I mean, it's more about, right, let me find an example. Let's go to the, see what's happening. Hold on. I'm going to go to the next day and then I'm going to clear up the charts a bit. Actually, can I show an example? Yeah, I mean, this is an example here, right? Like we had before. And also an example here. So this is the reason all I'm using breaker structure. Okay, demand zone. This demand zone broke this structure to the left. Okay, this structure here. From this zone, we then broke through this structure, showing upward momentum, breaking through a major structure point. So therefore, in my eyes, price is going to want to continue to the upside because we've done it so quickly, and yes, it did. Same thing here. We had that breaker structure because we had a change of the character's trend. We had that final lower low, and then we made a new lower high, sorry, new higher high, which broke structure, and then from there, price then reacted and continued to the upside. So that's kind of that's what we're looking for, basically. All right. About 1 AM. What day are we on now? We're on Friday, so this is the end of the week. Now, Friday is always a funny day. Ah, stop. Right, we went a bit mad there. Let's go. No, we won't go back. Okay, I'm going to get rid of these so we don't get confused from yesterday. And we're going to look at this. Now, we have an interesting area here. Okay, supplied the market and we broke structure here. Okay, now we go down to a 1-minute chart. This is just rinse and repeat, guys. Just rinse and repeat. Look for the fair value gap. The final fair value gap's up here. Okay, I'm only looking for the most extreme one. I'll mark out all of them usually, but I want the last one in the zone, which is this one on the 1 minute chart, to get taken out. And we haven't done that yet. Okay, so if we go to the 5 minute, in the old days I would have entered here. As soon as we tapped in, stop loss above here, let's say, going for a 1-to-1. Now you can see that's a huge amount of price movement, and if I did have my stop even above this high, we would have been stopped out there right now. Okay, so we're going to be patient and see if this gets taken out. If it does, then we'll look to enter a trade. Okay, we got taken out. Now, interesting fact, this area is still valid. Although we broke up above here, we haven't closed above this zone yet. Okay, still haven't closed above the zone, but we haven't got an entry yet because we haven't got a break for candle low. Now if the next candle breaks this candle's low, that's a valid entry. It did, so we'll take the sell. Okay, now remember, although we've been very good and we got them all right, sometimes even if it's the perfect setup, they don't always work. Okay, but this is where they work more regularly than not if you know what you're looking for. So let's see how this goes. I don't overly like the look of this one, but let's see. No, I reckon we're going to get stopped out here. Yeah, I didn't. When we have a big move like this and it's one big candle, I don't always like it. I prefer to see a several candles. Okay, so for example, like this one here, like push down. Although it didn't win and it's not a good example, I want it to look like this. Like have 1, 2, 3. Normally 3 or more candles is a good sign of a good supply zone or demand zone. Okay, this one looked nice, but it didn't work out, so that's fine. So we're going to keep going. Got our first loss there. Now remember, losing is part of trading. You got to get used to it, and that's why you want to make sure that you're not trading more than you want to lose, because it will help your psychology. I've done it before, over risked. Like, don't get me wrong, I've done all the mistakes that you can do in trading, and sometimes even on a bad day I can make stupid mistakes. That's just the way it goes. Okay, what we got up here? Okay, we're coming up into this dirty zone now, so it's not the nicest area. We do have a demand zone here though. Wow. Okay, this is a busy day. Let's get rid of some of this stuff. And I think after this week, do you use high probability supply and demand? Yes. If you've been watching this, we've literally just been going through a whole session of backtesting high probability supply and demand setups. Okay, not necessarily all the time looking at the higher trend, but we do look at it regularly. Okay, we're currently 5 right, 1 wrong. Alright guys, so Friday, we're now about 4:30. For me on a Friday, I would not be trading now. So on NAS, that was a pretty successful run for that week. Okay, we've got 5 trades right and 1 trade wrong. So let's see how it's going. Welcome Fred, by the way. Glad to see you here, man. Mike, is there a difference between trading crypto and Forex with your strategies? Yes. Yes, there is. You can use them, but this strategy I've found doesn't work as well on crypto. It just doesn't. You can find, I have found them working, but it doesn't work as often because crypto moves differently, it behaves differently because it's a different asset. You know, it's just not quite the same. So for crypto, I use the other trading strategy, which is the breakout fake out strategy, which is also on the channel. Haven't made a dedicated video to it yet, but there's lots of live trades on the channel that you can go back and look at using that strategy, including crypto trades, and that's the one I usually trade crypto on. But I don't trade crypto that much, to be honest. Forex and indices are what I've always looked at. Crypto wasn't even really a thing to trade when I started. I have 2 main strategies and 1 strategy that I have been working on recently. So this is the main one, the breakout fake out. So I've got 2 main ones and then a third one, sorry, which is slightly different. It's a little bit more complicated, but I don't trade it a whole lot because you don't need that many. I'd say any more than 3 strategies and you're just going to confuse yourself. You just don't need it. But today we're trading supply and demand. Do you think mastering one is enough to be profitable? 100%. 100%. You only need one to be profitable in trading. Okay. The only reason why I use two is because I like to trade different times of the day. Mike, can you turn the music down a bit? Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, if it's ever too loud, just go for it. Sorry, I can't hear it like as you're hearing it that well. Is that better? I've just turned it down a bit. 100% Fred, one strategy is enough to be profitable completely. This strategy, for example, as I think some of the guys have seen, is a profitable strategy if you know what you're looking for. You only need this one to be profitable, right? The only reason why I use another strategy is because I found that it's also profitable. It also works at a certain time of day. Now I do also have a side job. I own a personal training business, so I have clients throughout the day as well. So sometimes my days are busy, and I like to have set hours where I can trade. The breakout trade and fake out strategy works very nicely right at the beginning of London Open, first thing in the morning. So I know that I'm going to be looking for a certain strategy at a certain time, whereas this can happen any time of the day. So there's no real sort of, you've got to be looking at the charts a little bit more for this one to work. So that's why I developed the other strategy, so I can sort of have a frame of time each day that I know that I'm going to be looking for a setup, and in the afternoon or when I have free time, I'll be looking for this one. But absolutely, you only need one strategy to be profitable. But if you can manage 2 or 3 and master them, then you can be very versatile in the markets. Okay, right, moving on. Let's get into another trade. Let's stay on NAS. Let's do another week in NAS, I think, and then we will potentially look at another trade, and maybe even I'll have a look at the crypto long term and see what's going on. Hopefully, Shabir, that music's a bit better for you now, bro. In fact, Shabir, did you ask me in DMs about psychology? Was it you? I seem to recognise your picture. Right, what do we got? Supply zone. We got 3 candles. 1, 2, 3. We go for our fair value gaps to see what we got. Okay, interesting one. This is where you got to have your eyes peeled. There's a fair value gap here. Okay, well, it would be here, but there is one here. Okay, let's zoom right in. Okay, hold on, let me just get this up here. Look at it, it's here. It's tiny, but even though it's tiny, it still is significant. Okay, so I wouldn't be taking a trade until that one's been taken out on this setup. Okay, look how small it is on the 5-minute chart, but honestly, it makes a difference. So let's see how it goes. Again, we've got breaker structure. Okay, we've got breaker major structure here, breaker minor structure here. So we've got a change of character here, and then breaker structure here. Do trade high probability supply and demand, but mine is just a different. Can you give any advice to increase win rate? Using fair value gaps. So basically, watch a little bit longer, and you'll see what we're looking at. Basically, we look for fair value gaps in each zone, supply or demand zone. We want those fair value gaps to get taken out or filled before we look for our sales. I said to the guys already but I used to trade it when we tapped into the zone, then got our entry. I'd then take the trade. Price would maybe go into the zone quite deeply. Didn't know why, and then I'd be scared because I think, oh my god, I'm gonna get stopped out. And then it would reverse, and then I'd win the trade. The reason why is because they want to come take out fair value gaps. Now, if you don't know what a fair value gap is, it's basically an area of selling or buying on its own. So you can see this candle here is basically just one big fair value gap. Basically just got sellers in there. They like to fill these gaps up eventually. So you see this one here, this one here, this one here. They've all been filled either by this wick here filling this one, or this move down filling them. Okay, it's kind of complicated. I don't want to get into it now, but let's see how this goes. Sorry, lots of trade. Mike, can you show how to cut down higher time frame demand zones to enter in a lower time frame, if that makes sense? Absolutely, I can do that in a minute. How do you determine the direction of the trend? Do you look at higher time frames or only the 5-minute chart? Now, with the 5-minute chart, obviously trading, you don't always have to look at the higher time frame. Okay, you don't have to look at the 1 hour. Now, obviously here we can see that we're in a bit of an uptrend. We've got big buying pressure here on the higher time frame. But because of this short amount of period of time that we're in the trade for, and the reaction we're looking for, we're normally looking at the short-term trend. Okay, so this is a short-term upward trend. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Then we got a new lower low. Okay, so we got a change in this short-term trend, and that's what we're looking for. I'm not going to say this is going to work. I don't know what's going to happen here. Let's see if we can take out that little fair value gap, though. I think we will. Okay, look at that. Boom, taking it out by the pip. Okay, now price could continue out to the upside here, but if we get our break of a candle low, which if you're looking up at here, got the rules here, we're looking for a break of a candle low. Didn't get it. Okay, had a break above. This area is now invalid. Supply zone, it is not. Well, it is a supply zone, but it's not a supply zone. It's going to change. Do you not use any indicators? I use zero indicators. The only ones I have up here are time frame indicators. So this one tells me where midnight is. These three are for different. There's a reason why I have three of the same. They're just different time frames. Basically, this shows me where the Asia high and low session is, or the Asia session is. And this one shows me when 3 o'clock is to 4 o'clock in the New York session, and that's for a different strategy. So no indicators at all, just price action. This is a good example of when a supply zone just gives us a clear signal that we're not going to get a trade. Okay, we took out that fair value gap. We never got a break of a candle low. Okay, so we broke above. We're not looking for sell trades. We move on. Okay. Am I missing anything else? Shabir, yes, we'll look at higher time frames in a second. So basically the same thing. Okay, and even on the higher time frames, you still want to go down to that 1 minute chart and look for those fair value gaps. Okay. Anyway, I don't know why we were looking at this. Sorry, I got confused. This is at 7 PM. I wouldn't be taking this trade anyway. Sorry. This is yeah. It's even stupid to think that was going to happen. Anytime after 5 PM GMT, I never take these trades. The volume just sort of loses out and it all gets a bit weird. The best time is in London, New York and London crossover, and like the first couple of hours of London alone. What time is it? 2:30. Right, I have something on at 3:30 today, so we'll do another sort of half an hour, 40 minutes, and then I'll head off. But I appreciate all the likes, by the way, guys. We've got 11 likes on the stream. Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone chatting. I'm going to try and make these as regular as possible. I love talking to you guys. It's been super cool, and thank you for being in the community. I really appreciate it. It's super rad. Right, we're on the next day. I've been just clicking away, and yeah, been stupidly just clicking away there. We had a nice setup here actually, which we missed, but that's my fault for not paying attention. Right. Let's see what we're gonna get, if anything. Appreciate you too, man. Thanks for your efforts. Absolutely, no, you're very welcome. It helps me as much as it helps you guys, okay? Because actually, me talking about it to you guys just relearns me, right? Because it's easy for sometimes you can sit there in your room and get very, you know, it's a lonely thing trading. You know, this is why it's great to talk to you guys, because it's building a community of people that want to learn and people who have learned, or we're always learning. You can never completely be a master of trading. You can be a master, but you can never like be the, well, you can be the best, I guess you could say that, but you can never be like the best person, because it's all about how you feel on the day, and being able to talk about it helps me. So if it helps you as well, then it's win-win for everyone, right? Okay, I got a little bit lost here. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to do what Shabir said, and we're going to go for a higher time frame. Now, just quickly, just want to jump on here and show you something. These trades yesterday, okay, this video will be coming out after the next video. So the video that just came out today was this trade and Euro USD, which is on the $5,000 challenge. Amazing trades. Go check that out after this if you haven't already. This one is the next day, and I won't go into it too much, but I was super stoked on this day. Okay, now it looks like I lost, but actually we got a break even here, and we changed our bias, and you'll see it's a mixture actually of the breakout and fake out trades, and the strategy we're looking at today. So I look forward for you to see that one. It'll be coming out probably Monday or Tuesday. I'm hoping to get the Dubai vlog out tomorrow or Monday. Got quite a bit to edit on that. It's looking pretty cool. So yeah, but this is some good trading here. I was stoked with this. Anyway, let's go. You should make a Discord for the community. So I do have a Discord. It's currently inactive. I have a Telegram though. If you check the description below, there's a free Telegram where I post some free and exclusive content down there. From time to time, some live trades as well. But I might get the Discord going up as well. It's just having so many channels to manage and having a business as well, it can get a little bit difficult. But check out the Telegram. Go join that. And we're also going to have a premium Telegram soon as well. But we'll also do a Discord. Thank you very much for the session. Absolutely loved it. Keep it regular. You're welcome, dude. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I will do this as regularly as I can. It won't always be on the weekends either. And I will look to do a live trading session live for you guys on here very soon. Right. Shabir. We're going to go for the high time frame. And it's basically the same thing, right? So let's go back in time to some random day. Sorry, coughing in the mic there. April, let's go to May so we get our 1 minutes. Let's go Monday the 1st of May. We'll cut time to 6:30 a.m. Okay. Oh, look at that. That's nice, isn't it? Got a nice looking demand zone here. So let's see what we get. Demand zone, supply zone. Again, if we go here, even if we've got this huge 30 minutes demand zone, the supply zone, sorry, I'm still going down to the 1 minute chart to look for my fair value gaps. Right, you're going to find loads because obviously you're on a higher time frame. There's one there. There's one there, and the most extreme one is here. Now, even though some of it has been taken out up to this point, there's still some left. So I always mark out from the recent high to the top of the fair value gap. Okay, so we'll go back to the 30-minute chart, and if we do take out those fair value gaps, we're going to be looking for the same criteria. Okay, no, we didn't take out that. Right, we're going to come into this zone. It's 3 a.m. Not going to be trading right now. All right. This is a good one for you right now. You see this here on the left? This is a proper gap. This is a gap in the market, right? So this is technically a fair value gap, but it's a jump in the market where prices move so quickly that price is just not even there. These will always get filled in. Same with fair value gaps, but these will always get filled in. Now what I can see down here, if I go back a little bit, on the higher time frame, is a demand zone, right? 30-minute demand zone down here. Let's go down to the 1 minute chart. Now I don't know what's going to happen here, but this is just from seeing this happen a lot. Again, we go down to our fair value gap. We've got our fair value gap, extreme fair value gap there. Hey Abby Cool, what's going on? Abdi Cool, sorry, Abdi Cool. How's it going, dude? Welcome to the stream. So we got our demand zone here. We're on the 15-minute now. So let's see if we can get a move down to there. We did. Now we didn't completely take out the yeah, very good, thank you. Very good. Having a good stream and a good Saturday. Let's see. Are we gonna take out that gap? Oh no. Didn't really actually work out as well as I thought. But we could have got a nice 5-minute entry there. Okay, got a 30-minute demand zone, breaking structure to the left. We're going against the trend a little bit. We also have this supply demand zone down here, which we're going to look at in a second. Could have got a push up. Let's ignore that one for now. It was a bit messy, but I'm still looking at this. Okay, let's go down to the 1 minute chart, and in this huge 30-minute demand zone, we're going to look for our fair value gaps. Okay. And we have them, and super extreme fair value gap all the way down here. Okay, so we're not going to do anything with this area until that's been taken out. If it gets taken out, let's see. This is a beautiful demand zone though. Look at this, straight line up. This is a beautiful demand zone. my week was great, a really good week trading. So happy with that. Also just a great week. So thanks for asking, man. How was yours? Okay, price is pushing down. Are we going to take it out? Oh, we did, and we broke below. Okay. Haha. We're going to get a push up from here. Okay, so for me, this wouldn't have been the best thing, and I don't trade this time frame, but let's see what happens. Bang. We took out that gap. Right there, price came up. This is a bit confusing. Obviously, we broke off down here. Red for you. Sorry to hear that, man, but we all get those. I had one of those the other week. It does happen. It does happen. It was a bit, yeah, it's always going to happen, dude. Wouldn't be... Yeah, so that is a liquidity grab. Yeah, exactly that. So if we go on the 1 hour, this is going to be a liquidity grab. Maybe a 2 hour. 2 hours is going to be the wick for sure. Yeah, so we liquidity grabbed below these lows. And on the 1 hour, this probably would have been a better entry. Nah. Now, see, for me, for example, it is a liquidity grab. You're right, CB. But for me, that doesn't... Because it didn't close back into the zone, and I wasn't looking at it on the 2 hour chart, then no. But this would have been a good 2 hour trade, though, because we got everything taken out. Stop loss would go below the zone there, and obviously we would have definitely smashed up there. But I don't trade this strategy on the higher time frames. This is just an example for Shabir. But you can see that this strategy does work on all time frames. It's just that I always focus on the 5 minute because it's the best one for me. But yeah, you're right, that is a liquidity grab below these lows, and then once they got that, price came in, took out that gap which we were looking at, and yeah, prices continued to the upside. There we go. Alright, so had a successful trades on NAS. Let's just go back to those, and we'll finish off the stream, because what time is it? It's 2:30. I've got to get ready for my meeting at 3:30. So we got 5 for 5. This one wasn't so great, but we had a is this the right ones? Yeah, we had our 1-to-1 here. If we go to the 5 minute, oh my god, I'm gonna lose it. There we go. So this one, thanks mate, you're very welcome. I've somehow managed to clear all of the boxes, obviously, so this isn't going to be the best thing to look at, but we got 5 out of 6 right on this day. Actually no, we had one wrong here, so it was 6 out of, oh my god, 5 out of 7. Great profitable week. Okay, with some runners as well. I hope you all enjoyed the stream. If you only got any questions, obviously you've been asking questions, it's been amazing. I've tried to answer them as best as I can. Hopefully this has been helpful for you. I'm going to try and do these as regularly as I can as well. After this, if you're new to the channel, if you just found the stream, or if you've been watching for a while, go check out the other videos on the channel. I try and trade all my trades as live as possible. And I will be doing a live trading stream very soon, just finding the right time for me to do it. Now obviously I know that some of you are in Australia, some of you in Middle East, some of you are in America. Obviously the time zones are everywhere, okay, so you may miss the stream, may not. I'm going to try and find a good time that I can do one where we can all get involved. But obviously today has been pretty good. Mike, will you ever make a video on how you get your charts like that? Yes, I can do that. In fact, I could show you that right now if you'd like, real quick. I could also make a video on that. But basically, if you're on the charts, what you need to do is you need to go to this cog in the top right corner. Okay. Oh, you can't even see that up there. But if you just right click on the screen, go to settings, okay, go to appearance, then you can change everything in the background. Okay. So I've changed my text. I think that's actually standard. Crosshair standard, and then I've changed my background. You can have it gradient or solid. It's up to you, and you can change it to all the wackiest colors in the world, right? Whatever you want. I like mine to be nice and dark. Then, if you go in there, go to your symbol. You can change the color of your candles here. I have just white for bullish candles, and I have blue for bearish candles. And that's pretty much it. It's that simple. And then also, if you want to change your boxes, so obviously you draw a box. Okay, you come up here, you change the color here. I've got the opacity set to that, the color of the inside, and then this is the outside, so like the little white line around. Again, set it to how I wanted it, and there you go. Hopefully that has answered your question, Shabir. You can get some cool looking charts. You can make them, as I say, any colors you like. I see some people, they got the wackiest colors on their charts, but I quite like blue. It's quite calming, and it doesn't red and green I find is quite triggering, because obviously colors have a red means go, red means stop, and green means go, and that has like a psychological effect on the brain, like unconscious effect. So that's why I wanted to change it, and that's why lots of traders do. CB, how do you extend your box? Yeah, sure. So it's really useful. So you draw your box, and then if you go up to your settings here, and then you go to style, and you just tick extend right, or you can extend left. Don't really need extend left, to be honest. Extend right, and then it will just always it will always just draw it out for you, and then you don't have to drag along. There you go. If you want this midnight marker, it's useful for back testing, because then you can just zoom up here, you can see where the sort of midnight is. For some reason it's set on 1 AM at the moment. Then you can go back, you're very welcome, then you can go back and find the beginning of a day, and then it's super easy. There's loads of them, but I just use this ICT midnight, New York, and GMT. You can put the New York midnight or the GMT midnight as well. I won't go into these because this is a different day when we've got different strategies, and I will do back testing on this strategy, which is the more complicated one, and the breakout strategy and such. Excuse me. Another day. So I think I'm going to leave the stream here, guys. Thank you so much for joining. As I say, it's awesome to have you guys as part of the community, and all the likes and comments and everything. Thank you. Check out the website, it's down there. You can look at the one-to-ones. It's currently at a lower price. As we go forward, not for a long time though, it will go up in price, but basically an hour and a half of me where I sit down and give you as much knowledge as I can. But obviously these streams are helpful as well. Hey Mike, thanks for answering all my questions. Really appreciate it. You deserve more subscribers and fame. It is amazing. Also, you're genuine kind person. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. It's really, really kind. That's made my day. So thanks, Shabir. You're a rad human too. Thank you so much. Yo, Sandwich. Unfortunately, you joined right at the end of the stream. Thank you for being here. I've seen you comment on a few things. You're the man. Have a good day, guys. Love you all. I'll see you in the next one. You did, dude. I'm so sorry. Been on for a little while. You can go back and watch, but there's going to be another one. I may even look to get another one in tomorrow. Maybe have some stuff to do tomorrow, but I might see if I can get one going on in the morning. I'll let you know, but definitely next week. Thank you, guys. Have a great Saturday. I'll see you very soon, all right? Peace.